Morphin Legacy presents The Grid.
Howdy, Ranger Nation. This is Shatteray22, Vice President of MorphinLegacy.com, welcoming you to another grid ranking where we'll be discussing team-ups! Joining me in this grid ranking is Austin.
Hi.
And Amber.
Hi, Obo.
So if you're watching this day of release, it's National Power Rangers Day and the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers. And this team-up ranking is our way of honoring the momentous occasion. But before we start our team-up discussion and ranking, I would like to shout out our Patreon at patreon.com/thegridpr. Subscribing to our Patreon helps us pay for things and honestly motivate us into releasing exclusive content, like great commentaries, and releasing things earlier on there like a day or two early. So with that, you guys ready?
Ready.
Oh, yeah.
Ranger of Knowledge, Grid Ranger Metallix, Silver.
Ranger of Queerness, Grid Ranger Metallix, Rosé.
Ranger of Critique, Grid Ranger Metallix, Gold. Grid Ranger Slay, ready to save the day.
Alright, so let's talk about our first team up, but not really. A Fredini. We ain't touching that shit. We don't know her.
Isn't that like a three-parter?
Yeah, it's a three-parter that introduces Masked Rider.
It's also an ugly suit. Sorry.
Alright, moving on to Rangers of Two Worlds.
Rangers of Bakatar, thanks a million. No problem.
Which is a team-up between Zeo and Alien Rangers. Kind of.
It's Slay.
It's good, but it's more of a exit for Billy. Since this is his last appearance before Once and Always, and it's not really him, it's an old guy pretending to be Billy because David Yost left the show because
Homophobia.
the team-up stuff kind of takes a back seat to Billy's last appearance on the show before Once and Always. But we do have Equation Rangers coming, mostly Delphine and Sestro.
The only ones that matter. Tell me the other names.
I mean, I know them, but do you know them?
No.
What's the red one?
Oric.
Orko.
There's a character called Oric and Orko, like, around the same time. Fuck off.
What's the black one called?
I'm sorry. They don't say their names that often in the show, like, we don't really care.
Corcus. And the yellow one is Tidius.
Yeah, I would have never
Like, I love them, but, like, girl, we just see Sestro and Delphine the most, so, like, they're the ones I remember.
I'm sorry, I don't watch this for the Alien Rangers. I watch it for my girly impersonator.
Oh, yes, the impersonator. So let's go back to the team-up fodder. So the team-up fodder happens when both Rita and Zed and the Machine Empire send down monsters. Rita so happened to be a pink purse monster named the Impersonator, who is, no joke, the most powerful monster Rita and Zed ever create.
And that's on God. And it's really funny, too. They impersonate her from this, like, ugly-ass clutch that Kat made that Tanya's like, ooh, this is ugly.
You bought this?
You bought this? No, I made it. Ugh.
And then Adam's like, ever since I knew you, this is the only thing that isn't perfect. I'm like, aw, Adam, you're being a real ally right here. Good job. So yeah, Impersonator is grown giant, and she literally curb stomps every Megazord transformation, forcing them to retreat. So technically, Rita and Zed won for like a second, but Mondo was so jelly that he teleported the monster away. Because he wants to destroy the Rangers, damn it.
Where did she go?
She was teleported to some, like, galaxy that was far, far away.
Wait, seriously?
She's teleported away in part 1, and then she comes back in part 2, and she takes the Super Zero Megazord. Yeah, King Mondo's monster, Cog Changer, takes the Zeo Megazord, and they, like, duke it out.
Impersonator in the cockpit is hilarious.
Hey, you and the Super Megazord! What kind of monster are you?
I'm your worst fashion nightmare!
So the actual team-up happens in part 2 when Delphine and Sestro, who are conveniently on Earth because they're helping Billy rejuvenate himself because I guess Equestrians are immortal because of the water in Aquitar.
Wetness is the essence of beauty.
Gotta moisturize. So yeah, they call up the rest of the Alien Rangers and they team up with the Zeo Rangers to defeat Impersonator and Kong Changer. So yeah, this is a solid team-up, I think. It's nice to see the Alien Ranger costumes since they only got like a 10-episode miniseries.
It's good. It's probably like middle of the road for me.
I love Rita and Zed's moon antics are always fun, and this had a lot of quotable moments like,
It's a purse! A purse monster! What kind of monster is that?
Well, it does have quite a nice zipper, my queen.
Quiet!
Oh, sorry.
I need to think!
Oh, now we're in trouble.
I think the more quotable team-up episode is the next one.
oh Jesus.
Power Rangers, oh, Power Rangers, oh, Power Rangers, in space!
So yeah, the next one on our list is Shell Shocked.
You want Rangers? You gotta go through turtles.
Mutants!
Well, at least you got that right. It's time for some shell shock. What are those things? I can't believe it, but I think they're...
It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Which is a team up between the Space Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from The Next Mutation, which features Venus.
These Mighty Morphin comics could never... The Space Rangers walked, so that little comic could run.
Exactly.
When that comic was announced, they did reference Shell Shocked a lot. Personally, I like the Mighty Morphin team up better, but... Alright, so the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who are created, summoned, or who the hell knows, by Astronomer.
Summoned. Did you watch the episode?
So yeah, they're summoned, created, whatever. The Space Rangers know them, so they're at least fictional. They're brainwashed. They trick the Space Rangers into being allies to take over the asteroid ship, and they succeed until they get through some like magnetic fields that reverses the spell somehow. Sure. They turn good again and team up with the Space Rangers to fight some Controns, and they just go back to New York. Anyone else have anything else to say? I don't have a lot of notes on this one.
There's that iconic gif of Andros being moody in the background while Ashley's getting hit on.
Get it, girl.
Decca being like,
I've been certified turtleified!
I may have liked this more if this literally wasn't the 4th episode of In Space. This is literally shown the 2nd or 3rd plan as the main villain.
Because Saban needed to fucking promote that show, goddammit.
that's why it exists, yeah.
Next Mutation only lasted 1 season, and it was not doing amazing, and they were probably hoping that being on Rangers was gonna boost their ratings.
Alright, does anyone have anything else to say about Shell Shocked?
It's a sleigh.
It's a cultural reset, honestly.
Moving on to True Blue to the Rescue.
Justin, it's you!
You monsters forgot one very small problem. Actually, I'm not so small right now.
Which is a team up between the Space Rangers and the Blue Turbo Ranger Justin.
Mama, weren't your powers destroyed?
I will explain that in a minute. The crux of this team up begins when Stormblaster, one of the sentient cars in Turbo, escapes from some planet where they're being whipped by some Piranatrons because Divatox captured both Stormblaster and Lightning Cruiser in the finale. So this is a way to explain what happened to them since then. So they're just cargo cars, I guess, and Stormblaster escapes. But at the same time, the Space Rangers and Astronomer are made aware of this, and they're racing to get Stormblaster, with the Space Rangers being captured because we need to get Justin here. So we cut to Justin, who is living in a new town he moved to at the end of Turbo, because that was his excuse to leave this team. He was like, I'm gonna stay here with my dad.
Dad! That's how he says it, too. Dad!
Yeah, I think the 4 adult, quote-unquote, Turbo Rangers disappearing off into space is fine, but when it's like a 12-year-old just leaving certain amounts of time...
Or they would have had to bring Dad with them, and that would have been weird.
Yeah, he needs a chaperone. So yeah, he's in some new town. Stormblaster, like, just beeps, like, get in, loser. So Stormblaster drives Justin to the place where the Space Rangers are captured, and he is given a new Turbo Morpher, because in the finale, like Austin said, their powers are destroyed, so I guess Stormblaster just has an extra Turbo Morpher for him. Not sure how it works, but I guess maybe his car battery charged it. So yeah, he just helps in the fight. They fight, helps the Space Rangers destroy the Monster Marine and rescue Lightning Cruiser. And we last see Justin having a moment with his former teammates. They say, once a Ranger, always a Ranger, before he leaves and says, if they need him, He'll be there.
We never see you again.
Yeah, we never see you again ever.
For good reason. Take your little bowl cut somewhere else, mama.
Maybe he was defending Little Town during Countdown. I think this is a decent team up.
It's fine.
I mean, even bad team ups, I still think they're fun. It's a team up.
I think it was good to get an update from Justin because I think if we never saw Justin again after that, I'd be like, oh, what happened to him? His moment with TJ was kind of cute. It was like, hey, I'm blue.
Hey, Tage, you look good in blue.
There's also a moment at the beginning where Divatox is a bit ass-kissy to Astronema because she's like,
Hello, Astronema, darling. Oh, don't you look lovely today? Actually, hon, I lost a little something. Nothing very important. Just this little pesky thing called a storm blaster. Now, if you happen to see it, now don't worry your pretty little head about it. Just give me a call, and I'll send an army or two to go catch it. Okay, love?
Agreed, Divatox.
Thank you, hon. You're the best.
Unless, of course, I catch it first. Then it's mine.
Oh, you little brat!
Oh, look at me. I'm so cool. I'm Astronema. I'm in charge of the whole universe. Well, hello?
that Jeep is my bitch. Anyone else have anything to say about Trubaleski before we move on?
I mean, it was awesome to see two icons together.
Well, yeah, we see Divatox and Shaman a few times together this season.
They're all treats. Just little treats. I'm eat them up.
So moving on to the other Solo Ranger team up this season, Always a Chance.
It's Morphin time!
Where the Space Rangers team up with Adam. Most of the story of this episode isn't really super team-up-y. It's mostly about Carlos being depressed after he accidentally hits Cassie in a fight. Adam just shows up halfway through the episode in the middle of a fight with a monster to help him not be depressed anymore by helping him train. Cue training montage! Carlos is still flustered, though, at the end, and he's like, I quit. But Adam is like, oh, if only I was still a Ranger. And he looks at his broken Power Morpher with a messed up coin with like a fucking slice through it. It's pretty cool looking. But Alpha 6 is like, ay, it's damaged. You're gonna die if you use it.
When did it get cracked?
I think when the Thunder Swords were destroyed. It's the Mastodon coins.
Oh.
And this is before fucking power coins were falling out of the sky, so this is when it was like legit.
As much as I love Chase into Space, I hate when powers are destroyed because then it puts the writers in a corner.
Yeah, for future stuff.
Yeah.
I think at this point they were just really counting on coming back to these shows for team-ups even, really.
Yeah, this was at a point where it was a continuing story, so they had to destroy powers when they got new ones. But after this, they didn't really do. They lose their powers. Only Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder do that?
Lost Galaxy, they give their powers back.
Well, they put it in the stone on Miranoi, but multiple times we see them rip them out of the stone.
Yeah, they're not there for their daily use anymore.
Yeah, just Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder, really, and I guess Ninja Steel. But even Ninja Steel, in the Poisy show, they get their powers back for that. So yeah, of course, he uses this corrupted Morpher and he morphs and he risks his life. He's like fading in and out of morph. But it's enough until Carlos gets his Morpher back and they defeat the monster. This is another decent team-up. It kind of gives like shades of a Gokaiger tribute episode where a former Ranger shows up to give advice to a new Ranger.
That's what Super Mega Force should have been.
They did that, but it was only with 2 Rangers.
Well, they just showed up. They didn't do anything.
All Jaden does is get a smoothie and is like, hey, here's a disc.
And then he smiles and gets like a cut zoom in on his face.
Casey kind of does more. He trains Jacob Emma in the ways of the Paichua.
That only happened because he was a writer.
Literally. And then they just fucking shove all their other cameos at the last minute in Legendary Battle, but we will talk about that later.
We are doing a retrospective.
Yes, we are. We're doing talk about Legendary Battle in this episode, too. It's always nice to see Adam back, so I'm not going to call it unnecessary.
He's beautiful. He's gorgeous.
And it was cool to see the correct power morpher, but that won't be a problem for long because literally power clones are just falling out of the sky in future team-ups. Literally in one team-up, one falls out of the sky.
Literally!
Girl.
Alright, are we ready to move on to legit team-ups now?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Alright, let's move on to the 10th power and the power of pink.
Let's rock it!
We thought you could use a little help.
All right, you guys ready to join the party? Go!
That features the Galaxy Rangers teaming up with the Space Rangers.
Girl, when I say I want to team up, this is what I fucking mean. These two episodes are the top caliber of team up quality.
So let's talk about to the 10th power first. Deviant gets the tated cards containing the Psycho Rangers from some bug alien. Last time they were seen was in the possession of Cyborg Astronomer, so it kind of makes sense. It doesn't answer how the bug alien got them, but they're still around. And uses them to capture the Galaxy Rangers, which they're successful in capturing 4 of them. Psycho Red, however, is unsuccessful, not because of his chef's kiss child acting.
I'm okay. But you're not.
You don't know me. I'm Psycho Red.
But due to a familiar looking man in a red cloak comes in to save Leo.
You're Andros, the Red Ranger. I was there the day you saved her.
Apparently Leo was there the day of Countdown. I'm like, sure, Jam. I mean Leo. So Andros and Leo head to the Astro Mega ship to pick up his Astromorpher, which is locked in a vault on the ship, and we later see the other 4 Together Morphers, to Alpha's excitement. It's also a good thing this happened before the Astro Mega ship blew up in Journey's End, because could you imagine if that happened?
That'd be unfortunate.
So they rescue the captured Galaxy Rangers, and the 2 teams team up with their respective colors to fight their respective colored Psycho Ranger, except for Damon, because there is no Psycho Green yet.
Not for another, 20 years. Well, technically, doesn't Psycho Green exist in the 90s or something?
In the comics, he's technically the first ever Psycho Ranger.
He's like a lone star, right?
He's not part of the team.
Right.
There was the Psychopath where they tried to make them all family and whatever, but...
Girl, we're not going there.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. So, the 2 teams are successful in destroying the Psycho Rangers, with the Space Rangers vibing on Terran Adventure for a bit, and Maya's gonna give the grand tour. However, Psycho Pink is revealed to have somehow survived.
Psycho Pink. You have disappointed me. I will give you one more chance. This time, you will annihilate anyone and anything that comes in your way.
Somehow, Psycho Pink returned.
I mean, I guess she avoided the...
It's because she's girly pop.
I'm glad they gave that to her, though, because she was the first one to die in space.
It's what she deserves.
In case you didn't know, I love this team-up. It might be bias and nostalgia, but this brings such joy. And I'll admit, it's very story-light, but it's very action-based, and the action is very nice. Love the choreo, love everything. Does anyone else have anything to say about To the 10th Power?
I mean, anything with Psycho Rangers is always fun.
Not everything.
Well, in the show.
In the show! I'm surprised they never touched the G-Rangers.
That wasn't the Versus movie, shockingly.
I'm kind of surprised, to be honest.
Oh my god, I wish that we got those Mega Ranger power-up suits in space.
I know, in the Car Ranger team-up. They kind of look like Ultramon from Megaforce, but better. Alrighty, so let's move on to the Power of Pink.
Girl, the power of this episode. Whew! Little me was gagged, I'll tell you that.
So Psycho Pink is back, baby, and is on a mission to destroy the Pink Rangers. I wonder if she'll succeed. While this is going down, the Space Rangers and Galaxy Rangers are vibing together at Terra Venture, getting shown the Galactabees, with Cassie getting an interesting amount of focus. She's doing a little dance on the Wildcat and she falls off. It's funny, we all laugh.
Hey, look at me! I'm going surfing! I'm going riding on a Galactabees! Is it safe up there?
Yeah, they seem to be getting along just fine.
Oh, Cassie, look out!
So after these shenanigans, Psycho Pink goes through Terra Venture's computers, going into Kendrix's when she's looking through the Galaxy Book and finds the Savage Sword, a powerful sword on the planet Rashon, which just so happens to be right next door to where Terra Venture is now. How convenient! So Psycho Pink drains her brains, and all three Pinks race to Rashon for the Savage Sword, with Psycho Pink getting it, and kicking some ass before she uses it to drain the energy out of Cassie's Astromorpher, using its power to turn into her monster form and grow giant. Thankfully for everyone involved, though, the Astro Mega ship just so happens to have the Astro Mega Shuttle inside of it, so the Astro Megazord is able to team up with the Galaxy Megazord to destroy Psycho Pink. However, all is not right as rain, since we still have the Savage Sword to deal with, but as we all know, Kendrix sacrifices her life to destroy the Savage Sword.
Kendrix!
I'm okay. I'll always be here.
With Cassie's Astromorpher being repaired in the process. So this is where, in an alternate universe, I'd say Cassie takes on her role as the Pink Galaxy Ranger, but Patricia Jolly left after filming an episode or two due to pay. And we get an alternate scene where the Space Rangers leave Morph to go on some mission. Maybe to fight Lord Draven, since TJ mentions crossing paths with some dimensions.
We did, however, read off dramatically with one of the episodes with her.
Oh, yes, we did. We did read a new script called Forging a Friendship. You can check that out. Our Grid Masterpiece Theater.
I would have been very interested to see
where they were going with that.
As much as I do like Rome, but I love Cassie.
There's actually a shot in an episode people discovered recently. You could see Patricia Jolly's eyes in a scene where it's supposed to be Carone.
What?
Apparently they filmed multiple episodes with her and then she just left. Because there's clearly an episode where Carone is acting like Cassie.
I mean, it's also hard to distinguish, would this be Carone? Because we hardly knew her as a character before Lost Galaxy.
True. She was a different person back in space. Really the Queen of Evil.
Maybe she's just a happy goth.
So the episode ends with the question, who will be the next Pink Ranger? Who, spoilers, Crone. So this episode is classic. Of course, the reason for this episode is sad due to the misfortune of Valerie Vernon's health. But the way she's written off the show is so good. We love a heroic sacrifice.
That was a really well-written set of episodes.
I also like that it wasn't a closed door either. Like, Kendrick still shows up guiding people a few times, and then she comes back in the finale.
Like, I wonder if they set that up hoping that she could come back and just seeing how her treatment went.
Well, the next episode, we see her as a spirit, and she guides Maya to the Pink Quasar Saber. Because for some reason, she yeets it off the planet, and some random alien finds it and brings it to an Onyx auction.
She did it for the drama, okay?
I mean, that was a really good episode, too. I'd want to talk about that too, but that's not a team episode. Also, Psycho Pink pretty much stabled herself as an iconic villain for this episode alone.
I was obsessed with Psycho Pink since the Girly Pop in Space episode.
She's the only villain that's actually done the thing.
Rubberita recently.
Rancic.
Yeah, but at this point, she was the first one. She was the blueprint. The pink print, if you will.
And the original Megazord in this episode is pretty great too. We don't get a lot of those, and that was pretty cool.
This Barbie kills Rangers.
So let's move on to Trakeena's Revenge.
Guys, ready?
Ready!
Go, Galactic!
Galaxy Red! Galaxy Green! Galaxy Blue!
Galaxy Yellow! Galaxy Pink!
rescue ready. Blue Rangers, ready. Green Rangers, rescue ready.
Yellow Rangers, rescue ready. Pink Rangers, rescue ready.
Which is a team up between the Lightspeed Rangers and the Galaxy Rangers.
I love it. It's really good.
The episode opens up on Miranoi, where we see Leo rip the red Quasar Saber out of its resting place to fight hooded creatures known as ghouls, and their leader Triskull in a city, which I got to question how, but there's no time for that because they immediately leave to head to Earth.
Oh, they're not allowed to establish a civilization on Miranoi?
A city?
Well, girl, if they can build a whole space colony that can actually work, they can build a city in a year.
With what materials, girl? They live on a forest planet.
With the city.
What city?
They probably took stuff from the wreck of the ship.
Girl, it fucking crashed into the ground in the finale of Lost Galaxy. Did you not remember that?
I remember that. That doesn't mean it turns to dust. They could salvage stuff from it.
Sure. Okay. We then learn why Triskull is...
Who the fuck is Triskull, bitch?
This is more easy to digest than another villain we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
Which is to capture humans in an office building to steal their life force in order to give to Queen Benshira in exchange for a treasure full of gold. Triskull isn't getting the life force for Queen Benshira. This is a double cross, and Triskull is actually stealing the life force for Trakeena!
They still believe that the life force energy is for their queen. Those miserable Galaxy Rangers destroyed my magnificent beauty, so I will repay their treachery by destroying their beloved Earth.
Trakeena is in an episode called Trakeena's Revenge?
I know. That's just a spoiler right there. So, she survived the battle on Terra Venture, but left her severely scarred, forcing her to wear a mask to hide the fact that she has been recast with another actress. That sounds nothing like Amy Miller. I'd like to keep it on, please. While all of this is going on, a child of one of the people captured by Triskull, Heather, befriends Carter and informs him of what's going on, while Leo, Kai, and Maya arrive on Earth to assist in the fight against Triskull.
Who the fuck is Heather?
Exactly. Who the fuck is Heather? She is so damn important in this episode. We never see her again after this or before.
Heather isn't a person we know. She's the friends we made along the way.
She is more important in this episode than the fucking Rangers that came back.
I understand the frustration with it as an adult fan, but as a kid fan watching it, you think it's cool that a kid is working with Power Rangers.
Did you think the same about Justin?
Well, I didn't really grow up with Turbo. I grew up with Lightspeed. That was more around that age.
I guess it's easy to digest with just 2 episodes in the whole fucking season. And I don't get the way these characters are brought in. Leo comes in first, and then Kai and Mai come first. And then Damon and Kendricks come out like the last 10 minutes of part 2. So yeah, they eventually break into the office building after evacuating the building, where Leo and Carter successfully beat Triskull and later fight Trakeena for a short time with Kendricks and Damon before they're yeeted out of the office building.
I love how they fall too. They all like have individual shots of landing on the little safety thing, and then it cuts to them all getting off of it.
It's literally the same spot too. So the two teams then team up to fight the demons, while Trakeena uses the life force to turn green. Oh. But Olympius poisons the life force, turning her into a giant mindless demon creature.
Love it.
That's character development though. She went from being a vain princess to being a literal demon creature. So the teams team up to fight Trakeena and their Megazords. The Galactic Beasts were somehow able to travel to Earth, but this isn't enough, so they destroy her with the Omega Megazord using the Lights of Orion, which is a pretty cool formation.
I think that's so cool.
And the Galaxy Rangers leave Earth in their Jet Jammers. These are the Jet Jammers! This team up's kind of messy.
I love it. It's really good.
It's fun, but it's messy too.
Power Rangers in 3D, mama.
Yeah, this was a McDonald's thing, and I think they were supposed to have another team up too. This was supposed to be just like a McDonald's exclusive team up, and they were going to do another one. If you're going to do an exclusive team up, why would you make a team up where you use the main villain from the last season, the first one, and then do another one? Like, what are you going to do? You used Trakeena. Who are you going to come back for in the second one?
Could have been anything.
Heather gets a lot of focus, which was the reason why Amy Miller declined to come back. So we got the bad recast. That sounds nothing like Trakeena. Also, Danny Slavin was kind of burnt in this team up for unknown reasons and refused to come back to do ADR, so that's why he's redubbed and sounds nothing like Leo.
You're in for a big disappointment.
Barely see the other Galaxy Rangers. This is the only Zordon era team up to adapt Sentai team up footage rather than being something original, so it doesn't really feel as epic as those team ups.
I don't think there's an issue with that. It's just it didn't have a good story around it.
The Omega Megazord with the Lights of Orion armor looks cool.
So cool.
Not related to the team up, but the No Such Thing as Monster scene is unforgivable.
Are you kidding me? That is iconic.
It is iconic for the wrong reasons.
Maybe she meant in the sense of monsters that don't exist, but demons do.
How do you explain MMPR to in space on Earth?
Is this Angel Grove?
Girly, it's Earth! If something happens in a different town, we're gonna know about it.
This is 2000, before TikTok, before the internet, social media. Girl.
I feel like the news would report on that shit, though. We created a space colony before TikTok and social media and internet stuff.
It would have to rely on if that grandma watched the news or not.
You really jumped the rules for this, bitch.
I think you were too young to remember how the world was back then, Roy.
I was 9 during Lightspeed. So.
Girl, you're still a baby, so.
And I think Austin was only 3.
I'm only 3.
This is about the time I stopped watching Power Rangers, so I mean, that tells you a bunch.
Okay, and fun fact, for some reason they used the Ginga Man morph sequence in this episode.
Literally, why?
It's really weird and funny.
Especially since you see their hands and it's like, oh, the green one doesn't have black hands.
Time Force, Power Rangers, go!
Time for Lightspeed!
Ready? Ready! Lightspeed! Lightspeed! Titanium power! Ready? Ready! Time for! Time for! Quantum power! Lightspeed! Rescue! Time for! Time for!
A team up between the Time Force Rangers and the Lightspeed Rangers.
Seeing 2 of like some of my favorite suits right next to each other is really cool.
Vipra is back, baby! And literally digs herself out of a grave.
Girl, you got absorbed by Queen Banshira.
What you doing here? So she digs herself out of a grave along with some long-haired demon warriors that have ranger colors on their heads for some reason. She then travels to Silver Hills to obtain a solar amulet containing a super demon, but is unable to grab it due to her unable to break some glass.
That makes no sense because she like can go through it and then she's like,
Curses.
She can touch it. She put her hand through the glass. She can grab the solar amulet, but she can't break the glass. It would make sense if she was completely like a spirit that can't touch solid objects.
But she touches the crystal, so.
And the thing is that there's a scene later, and when she teams up with Rancic, where Nadira like goes through her. So part of it, I'm thinking like, is she a spirit? And then I'm like, but she was able to touch the amulet. It was just an excuse to get Rancic and Viper to team up to break some glass. And after that, we see Carter ride in his little Hummer and informs the Time Force Rangers about the situation and calls his former team mates in for the assist. So let's mention what they're doing now. So Chad is a lifeguard with a mullet. Joel is married to Miss Fairweather and was about to go on their honeymoon in Hawaii. Kelsey is just roller skating.
Where's your astronaut wife?
Apparently, the grandma was credited in this episode, so they got the grandmother, but they cut her out.
What? Why would you cut grandma?
And Dana somehow became a doctor in less than a year.
It's called the government.
Sometimes if you're in the military, you proceed through stuff a lot faster.
You know she got that free school. Oh, yeah.
She's a Nippo baby, so maybe Captain Mitchell was able to pull some strings. In the Limelight, she was doing that model stuff so she can get money for college. So Viper is able to perform the incantation to release Korganon, the super demon, after getting the summer amulet back, after using the Time Force Rangers as a bargaining chip. Not sure how they were captured, but this is a one-port team up. We don't have time to explain that shit. After this happens, the rest of the Lightspeed Rangers show up to the fight. Even Ryan, who rides up with Eric for some reason, with both teams morphing, fighting their respective colored demon warrior, and destroying Viper and Quarganon with a combined attack from all the Battleizers and Mega Modes. There's a shit ton of them in this episode. The episode ends with both teams giving the other teams their jackets for some reason, and the Time Force Rangers giving the Lightspeed Rangers an escort back to Mariner Bay, since Silver Hills is in Washington. This episode is enjoyable, but I think it was kind of rushed a bit due to being one part.
I like it.
I like it, but it's a little rushed in places.
I don't like team ups that are one part because it doesn't give you enough time.
We only see the other Rangers other than Carter in like 2 scenes, so it kind of suffers from having a lot of focus on most of the Rangers other than Carter till the climax, similar to Katrina's Revenge. But unlike that episode, we get to see what those Rangers have been up to since the end of Lightspeed, except Ryan.
That is so important to me in a team up. If I don't see that, what are you doing?
Yeah, what have you guys been doing with your lives? You're free.
Viper not being able to break some freaking glass was a bit strange, but I guess they needed a reason for it to team up with Rancic. I'll let it slide though, because it gave some great villain interactions, especially with Viper and Abdera.
I'm Vipra, princess of all demons.
I don't care if you're the princess of the universe. Get out of my chair!
Fun fact, everyone in the main cast of Lightspeed Rescue shows up in this episode, except for Captain Mitchell, but Ron Roget's in this episode voicing the Super Demon Quarganon. And another fun fact for you, when Dana is morphed, her ADR is done by Catherine Sutherland.
You can tell. Yeah.
But let's get to a really good team up. Reinforcements from the future!
Ready! World action! Let's do it! Time Force! Time Force! Quantum power! Blazing line!
Noble Tiger!
Iron Bison! Surgeon Shark!
Soaring Eagle!
Howling Wolf! Power Rangers! Wild Force! Time Force Red!
Time Force Yellow!
Time Force Blue! Time Force Green!
Time Force Pink!
Quantum Ranger! Power Rangers! Time Force! Power Rangers! Unite!
This is a personal opinion. I think Wild Force is really mid, but it has 2 of the most iconic team-ups.
They're really good team-ups. So yeah, this is a team-up between the Forces, Wild Force and Time Force. This team-up doesn't start with any rangery things, but with Taylor driving like a freaking maniac in her new gas-guzzling car. Guardians of the Earth indeed. So she, of course, gets a speeding ticket, but for some reason, it's Eric Myers giving her one.
Where is Wild Force set?
Colorado.
Colorado.
And Silver Hills is in Washington. Those are the only seasons that aren't in California.
Random facts with Ray.
Not sure why the Silver Guardians are in Turvacove and handing out traffic tickets, but whatever. We then see 3 mysterious creatures known as Mutorgs enter the scene. And they're blowing shit up, and they're like made of old monster pieces. One's clearly Deviat, with Toxica and Genjax trying to recruit them, but they ain't having that shit with their reverse speaking asses. They talk backwards in the first part for some reason. I don't know why. So they get in some cool Koichi Sakamoto directed fights, so the Wild Force Rangers and Time Force Rangers in the present can team up until Jen, who literally comes in guns a-blazing and reveals to Wes she's been following them for a while. That scene was epic, by the way. Love that scene. We then get the Time Force Rangers in the future travel to 2002 with Rancic and Indira, so he can tell us how he released them.
I was the one who created the Mute Orgs. In the years before I donned my mask and started the most notorious crime gang in history, I was shunned by humans. Wandering aimlessly, I eked out an existence in the shadows of the utopia made possible by Time Force. It was in those shadows that I found others forgotten by time.
Release us!
What are you?
We are Orgs. Humans imprisoned us in these stone tombs long ago.
What do you want?
Revenge! Free us so we can punish humans for this. We will give you great power for your help.
If humans are your enemy, then our quest is the same! The Orgs copied my mutant DNA and created new bodies for themselves. Half mutant, half Org. That is how the Mute Orgs came to be.
We also learned that they gave them the ability to make his bone weapons. So yeah, it's up to the two forces to stop the Mutorgs, who have teamed up with present-day Master Org to cause some pollution and are able to stop them after Rancic strips them of their mutant halves, which also somehow makes him a human. And they're weakened enough for them to be destroyed by a battleizer blast. Deja vu. We then have a picnic with a remix of the Song of Venemeria, and some cute little moments like some Taylor and Eric shipping fodder. Some Lucas and Nadir shipping fodder. And some Wes and Jen and Cole and Alyssa shipping fodder.
I don't ship most of those ships.
So I love this team up. The story is well written with a really cool concept for the villains. It's a team up that tells a story rather than just be like, hey, let's get to the fight. It also helps that it's a two-parter too. Everyone gets to shine, especially Jen with her epicness. We get some questions answered, like how Rancid got his bone power and what happened to the cast after Time Force. It's the better team of this season, is my opinion. I like this more than the next one. So let's move on to Forever Red.
Let's do it, guys. Morphin time! Rhinosaurus! Mighty Morphin Power Ranger! Morphin time! Red Steel Ranger! Ah! Shift into turbo! Red Turbo Ranger! Yeah! Let's rock it! Red Space Ranger! Go! Galactic! Go! Galactic! Lightspeed! Rescue! Red Lightspeed Ranger! Yeah! Time forward! Time force! Time force! Yeah! Quantum power! Quantum Ranger! Ha! World access! Red Wall Force Ranger! Red Alien Ranger! Yeah! Alright guys, let's do it!
Which is the team up with all 10 Red Rangers. The Beetleborgs, I mean the remnants of the Machine Empire, are digging up Serpentera, which is somehow on the moon, with Andros informing every team at this point in the franchise. Carter is responsible for informing Cole, who is currently with his whole team at the moment, but fuck those guys, Reds only! Bulk and Skull, who are revealed to on a beach resort, informs Tommy and the Reds on Earth to travel to the moon in the Astro Megazord Mark II to stop the Machine Empire generals from using Serpentera to destroy the Earth, but not before Tommy spreads some false propaganda.
Let's get started. Several years ago, the Machine Empire emerged from deep space and tried to invade Earth. Myself and the other Zeo Rangers succeeded in stopping the invasion by destroying their leader, King Mondo, and most of the Empire with them.
Anyways, the Earth Reds head to the moon to fight some cogs on Morph with some karate, except Carter, who is the only smart one and uses a blaster. The Machine Empire generals then slowly walk to Serpentera, with Cole trying to stop them, with Leo and Orko arriving to the battle. The 10 Red Rangers then morph to fight the Machine Empire generals, successfully destroying them all but one, General Vetrix, who survives and attempts to use Serpentera to destroy the Earth. But wait, though, Serpentera is no match for Product Place. I mean, Cole's new Wild Force Rider, and the greatest Zord ever built, is destroyed by a bike. A bike given to Cole by a god, but still a bike.
A Zord that shoots out a death ray at Cole. That he survives?
Yeah.
Cole has plot armor in this episode, like hardcore.
The Serpentera destroyed an entire planet, but it was no match for a bike. Because Bandai gave the show money to do Forever Red, that's why.
Well, yeah. I have no issue with that. I mean, this whole show is a toy commercial. But there was a smarter way that they could have written it in. A bike chase on the moon or something that makes more sense. Whatever. You don't watch it for that. You watch it for the Red Rangers, the morph, the fight sequence. The choreo's pretty cool. I like the part with, I think, Andros and Carter with the blasters. That's probably my favorite part.
And the episode ends with the Earth Reds and Leo photoshopped in.
Ugh, looks so bad. He's standing like 10 feet away from everybody.
I could tell instantly, especially in some scenes on the moon.
And there's that shot of all their hands, and there's a hand missing.
They're not expecting kids to notice this shit.
And you can see Leo in the shot. They all say how cool they are compared to Bonnie. I mean, Andros killed Zordon.
Well, what do you say in response to that? Oh.
I discovered a galaxy. And then they changed it to Andros saying, I saved 2 worlds.
KL35, I guess.
Alright, so this episode is, of course, iconic, but still kind of messy. Continuity, of course, is a problem with this episode. The writer of the episode decided to make his Zeo finale fanfiction canon, so things like Serpentera being on the moon is a thing, even though Rienza left the moon with Serpentera in the premiere of Zeo.
That's not the issue. The bigger issue I have is being like, oh, the Zeo Rangers destroyed the Machine Empire. Girl, what?
Technically, Rita and Zed destroyed them the first time, and Zordon's energy wave destroyed them the second time. Leo is awkwardly photoshopped into scenes, like I said, because Danny Slavin decided to accept the invitation to return after they filmed the episode, so he's just added to shots he wasn't in originally. You can actually see a shot of a morphed Red Galaxy Ranger after he unmorphs.
Yeah, when he's stepping back to get in the line.
It's kind of awkward that Rocky is nowhere to be seen in this episode, but I guess it would be weird for 2 MMPR Reds to be in this episode.
That would be stupid. That makes no sense.
Rocky went to blue.
The next 2 times we see him later on, he's red. There's still a lot to like about this episode, though. The fights, the morphs, the fact that we got all these reds in one episode. They could never do another forever color thing.
No.
On top of it being like insane amount of people.
Yeah, and also literally impossible.
I think maybe they could do like 5 to 10 of a color, but not everybody from a color. Alright, so that is the last Saban era episode. Let's move on to some Disney. Thunderstorm.
Are you guys ready? Ready! Battle Thunder! Power up! Blade Ranger! Battle Power! Ranger Storm! Ranger Force! Thunder Storm! Ranger Force! Samurai Storm! Ranger Force! Sereno! Tricera! Terra! Brachio! Drago! Dino Thunder! Power! Air!
Water!
Power! Earth! Crimson Thunder! Navy Thunder! Samurai Power! Ninja Storm! Ranger Power!
Which is a team up between the Dino Rangers, the Wind Rangers, the Thunder Rangers, and the first Green Samurai Ranger.
Girl, it's a team up between Dino Thunder and Ninja Storm. That is all you gotta say. You pretentious ass.
They are not the Ninja Storm Rangers.
They're the Ninja Storm Rangers.
Not in my database. This team up opens with Lothar, like Vipra, digging himself out of the abyss of evil. He then disguises himself as SENTAI to trick the Wind Rangers, who are now experienced ninja instructors of their respective element. That's what we call growth people, into using corrupted wind morphers to turn them into his evil minions. Lothar then beamlines it to the Wind Ninja Academy with his evil Wind Rangers and 2 new generals who are 2 unused Alba Ranger villains.
That's cool. I like stuff like that.
To capture the Wind Ninja Academy students in a bottle, baby. Except Mara and Capri, who trick Lothar into thinking they're still evil. Cut to the Dino Rangers, it's their season after all, who have befriended Blake Bradley, who just so happens to be competing in a motocross league. At the same time this is all going on, and Kira kind of has the hots for him, which is kind of awkward because the scene he has the hots for him, Trent is sitting right next to him, and they had that whole arc about them being lovey-dovey with each other, and that is completely dropped. They both get messages from their teammates, both being informed about the Wind Rangers turning evil. The Dino Rangers being gagged at the idea of evil Rangers even being a thing, even though Tommy and Trent are right there, and Blake meeting up with his brother and Kim. We then get some amazing fights between both teams, morphed and unmorphed, until the Wind Rangers are freed from Lothar's control, after their teammates are able to trick trick them into using purified power discs they got from the Abyss of Evil. Both teams then combine forces to fight combined armies of Lothar and Mizgard. They've also teamed up, by the way, and are successful in taking down various monsters, foot soldiers, the 2 new generals, and Zergane. Mara and Capri also reveal that they just faked evil to get the bottle containing the Windage Academy students. Mezgog then snaps at Lothar, and the two have a little fight in his lab, with Mezgog being the victor after shrinking Lothar into an action figure and putting him into a jar.
Say goodbye, Lothar. And this time, mean it. Very collectible.
I just want to make a little one to go with my Mezgog figure. I just want that for myself. I might do that at some point.
I think it's just funny that they literally used a Lothar accent figure and put him in a jar. I wouldn't mind a new one, though, after seeing Mezgog.
Mezgog's figure is amazing.
The episode then ends with the Ninja Storm Rangers' powers being totes gone for good. We're never going to see a Ranger from Ninja Storm morph again.
Wait, really?
No, I'm being sarcastic, Austin.
I can't tell with you.
This is the problem Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder had, like you said before, them losing their powers. Now it's like Morphin Masters did it, so... or Sentinel Knight did it. So the both teams go to see Blake compete in another motocross race. Oh, Mara and Cassidy meet each other.
Capri, did you just see that girl? She is like so stunning. Devin, did you see that girl? She is so stunning. But I am so much prettier.
That is so iconic.
Meta!
This is my favorite team up spoilers. It contains some great fights, morphed and unmorphed. It gives a lot of focus on the older team, which a team up should do. The morph call is one of the best.
Power Rangers SPD, Power Rangers to the rescue, go, go, SPD.
There are 2 SPD and Dino Thunder team ups. The first one is not good. I like Wormhole. But history, we gotta get through history first.
You guys ready? Ready! Dino Thunder, SPD, emergency! Ah!
Super Dino Mode!
Swap mode!
So Broodwig somehow gets his hands on the Dino Gems.
Let us proceed. Do you have them?
Right here. I procured them on the planet Onyx for a considerable sum.
And uses them with Professor Cerebro, some random scientist we were just introduced to bring the Dino Rangers from 2005, who are going to a 1-year high school reunion. Are those a thing?
No.
To 2025. He attempts to use them like Lothar did with the Wind Rangers, but unlike him, he didn't think to use mind control on them, so they get the fuck out of there with the Dino Gems and meet up with the SPD Rangers, who treat them like absolute garbage.
We'll take him on and anyone else that gives us trouble.
You haven't met Broodwing's boss. Grum is as nasty as they get.
Well, I say bring it on. We're Rangers. We can deal with it.
Correction. You were Rangers. We've been specially trained to take on Grum's army.
And no offense, but fighting dinosaurs is so over.
Weren't you guys taught to respect your elders?
So they sit in the Delta base for most of the episode, and it's honestly just feels like just a generic filler episode for most of it, until Grum and Morgana arrive in the team-up quarry with an army of Crybots. So the Dino Rangers come in with new morphers thanks to Cat and fight some Crybots. And that's about it. That's how epic it gets. They fight some Crybots in a quarry. Yeah, they then return to the past with the SPD Rangers informing them of feats they have accomplished. Connor opens up a sock camp. Ethan develops tech they use at the Delta base, and Kira becomes a famous singer. But none of that really matters because their memories are erased before returning back to 2005. So yeah, not a big fan of this team up. The Dino Rangers are completely disrespected by the SPD Rangers, which you should never do. There's no real cool and epic story revolving around these 2 teams crossing over. It just feels like a filler episode that shoved in the Dino Rangers at the last minute. So yeah, not a fan of this episode, but I like Wormhole a lot better. So let's talk about Wormhole!
Ready! Ready! SPD, emergency! Space Patrol Delta! Yeah!
Not bad. Check this out. Ready!
Ready! Dino Thunder, power up! Ha! Dino power! Red, blue, green,
Yellow,
pink,
Omega, Shadow,
Dorado,
Tricera,
Cat,
Brachio, Drago,
Power Rangers! Defenders of Earth!
Which is the second team up between SPD and Dino Thunder. Like the title says, Emperor Grum uses a wormhole to travel back to the year 2004 to take over Earth in the past. So since it's 2004, the Dino Rangers are still Power Rangers in high school, so these events are happening during Dino Thunder, so we see them vibing at school, and Trent's actually here this time, before they see Grum's ship and they investigate. At the same time, 3 of the SPD Rangers, Jaxie and Bridge, travel to 2004 to team up with the Dino Rangers and help fight off Grum's attacks on Reefside, which start off with small armies to burn some Sentai footage, before we learn that Zelchax has teamed up with Grum by force to lead an army of Crybots, Pteranodrones, and 3 monsters created by Mora. Before the fight happens, Tommy, suited only and voiced by Trent, and the rest of the SPD Rangers show up and they all fight. However, all is not good at first as they are surrounded by the big army, and we get the most over-the-top declaration from every single ranger screaming, "No one gets inside our circle!
No one gets inside!
No one gets inside!
Surround them! This is your end, Power Rangers. You are outnumbered. Look at the size of my army.
It is true. You have us outnumbered. But remember, it is not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. No one gets inside our circle.
No one gets inside!
No one gets inside.
No one gets inside!
No one gets inside.
No one gets inside!
No one gets inside.
No one gets
No one
inside.
gets inside.
No one gets inside!
No one gets inside.
No one gets inside.
You got it, Commander!
And both teams are able to defeat the combined armies. So the episode ends with the Dino Rangers getting their minds erased, except for Tommy.
Why except for Tommy? Fuck you.
Because he's in his suit.
Okay.
And the SPD Rangers feel bad about them not remembering, so their memories are erased too. Why did they erase their memories in this one? They didn't reveal anything about the future.
The SPD Rangers' memories are erased?
Yeah, because they feel bad that the Dino Rangers can't remember, so Kruger's like, "You're gonna forget too."
What?
Kruger erases his own mind of the events too. Oh, and then we get a little scene with Emperor Grum and Mora debate about staying in the past.
No! I'll go down there and finish them off myself.
Not such a good idea, you horn chip. Looks like the wormhole's closing. If we don't go back, we're never going back.
No matter. I'll defeat Earth now.
Fine. But then you're also going to have to reconquer all the other galaxies and planets you've already defeated. Because since it's 2004, none of that's happened yet. So if I were you, maybe...
Very well.
No, he won't. The Grum that did all those things at this point in time, so there'd just be 2 Grums running around.
Stop.
You can't do that because that's a paradox.
Stop.
Yeah, this is why you don't do time travel, Power Rangers.
Oh my lord.
This one is better than history. For one, the SPD Rangers don't treat the Dino Rangers like shit, so that's a plus.
That pissed me off because Dino Thunder's one of my favorites.
I don't remember it anyway, so what's the point?
Villains from both seasons team up together, so it doesn't just feel like a filler episode with the Dino Rangers shoved in. Alright, so that's technically the last annual team up, and going forward it's mostly like anniversary team ups and just random team ups we got just because we have footage or just for funsies.
Operation Overdrive! Power Rangers! Operation Overdrive!
So the first one of these team ups is the 15th anniversary special Once a Ranger.
Ready! Ready! It's Morphin time! Ninja Storm! Ranger Dino Thunder! Power up! SPD, emergency! Magical source! Mystic force!
which features a team up between the Overdrive Rangers, Black Ranger Adam, the Blue Red Ranger, the Yellow Dino Ranger, Red SPD Ranger Bridge, and the Green Mystic Ranger. So Thrax, the grown son of Rita and Zed. Not sure how that works, but okay.
He has an underbite. Is that your bathing suit? Is that your underbite?
So yeah, he's here, and he gets all the Overdrive villains to not want to kill each other for longer than 5 minutes to form an evil alliance. They then fight the Overdrive Rangers. Can't really say it's a fight, though. More like an explosion symphony.
Oh my lord. It's so much.
There is a scene where Miratrix jumps and an explosion happens. And they disconnect the Overdrive Rangers from the Morphin Grid, which is personified as a literal grid in this. They're about to destroy them, but Sentinel Knight comes in for the save. Thrax has beef with Sentinel Knight because he trapped him in a space dumpster for an undisclosed amount of time. How old is he? And while the powerless Overdrive Rangers are getting blown in the face by over-the-top explosions, Sentinel Knight forms a team of veteran Rangers to take their place, which makes them mad and they all quit. Because this team is just a bunch of quitters. So the veteran Rangers do their thing for a while the Overdrive Rangers go back to their old lives and they get bored. So while the veteran Rangers are getting a box in the warehouse containing Alpha 6, the Overdrive Rangers get the Sentinel Sword, which Max uses to slice a monster in half. After Alpha 6 connects the Overdrive Rangers back into the Morphin Grid, the Overdrive Rangers and veteran Rangers fight the Evil Alliance and the team of Corey, with Thrax fighting Adam, and you think Adam is going to get the kill, but no. Sentinel Knight has to swoop in with a new body and steals the kill. You would think it would be cool for a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger to kill the son of Rita and Zed, but no. We gotta get Sentinel Knight to kill him.
Fuck his drag.
The Evil Alliance then breaks off, so we get back to the status quo, and the episode ends with the veteran Rangers going back to their lives, with Alpha 6 helping run Adam's dojo he's going to sell when he joins SPA. Sudite. It's from a season I'm not particularly fond of, so that has it against us. The veteran Rangers team is solid. This feels like the perfect Rangers to get for this anniversary special, but it's kind of weird that Bridge is red. Thrax doesn't make any sense. The oldest he would be at this point would be 10 years old. Alpha 6 being in a box doesn't make sense either. He was on Marinoi the last time we saw him, and no offense to Campbell Cooley, I'm not a fan of his voice. And the explosions are fucking ridiculous in this episode. I did a compilation video of just explosions from part 1. It's almost 2 minutes long. Okay, so that is the last Disney era team up. Let's move on to the Neo Saban era. Clash of the Red Rangers, the movie.
Who are you?
Well, I'm a Power Ranger, just like you. But where I come from, they call me Ranger Red.
Which is a team up between the Samurai Rangers and Ranger Operator Series Red. We open in Corinth, or a version of it, where a giant Professor Cog, whoever that is, and Scott, piloting the Skyrev Megazord himself, having a little duel before the two travel to the main dimension on a train.
A subway train. They just show up.
Both sides team up with the good guys and bad guys, respectively, with Scott staying morphed because he can't breathe the air, and totally not because this actor is SAG and had to do a role under a fake name. Anywho, Professor Cog teams up with Xandrid to get some Sanzu River water in exchange for defeating the Samurai Rangers, which he is successful in getting rid of 4 of them by sending them to Corinth. We don't see any of those things happen, but yeah, they're in Corinth.
We hear about it. Your team says hi.
Meanwhile, the two Reds are put under a spell to bicker at each other and have like a 5-minute race on a horse and motorcycle to a quarry.
Just to be like, oh, we were just pretending. Girl, they weren't watching for those 5 minutes. What are you doing? What was all of that about?
The Samurai Rangers come back. The other Ranger series operators didn't come to assist, but they said hi. So yeah, they peep Professor Cog and another Nihilak on loan with 2 coats we've never seen before, and we cut to footage from another Shinkenjin movie before Scott goes back to his dimension on a train. That's about it. This team up is okay. I kind of appreciate it more since I've gained more of appreciation for Samurai. Thank you, Austin.
I'm here to educate, to teach the children.
I like that it confirms Corinth is in another dimension because it literally has to be with what happened in RPM. I think there are some problems here and there. Some were due to the time it aired during Samurai instead of Super Samurai, and at the time it made things confusing.
Who is Serrator?
Super Samurai mode and Shark Attack mode is a thing when they haven't been introduced yet. Jaden has his Super Samurai emo cut because this is the last thing they filmed. Antonio is absent Morphin from the special ed side of being Morphin is voiced by someone else for some reason, because I think he was in the States filming Glee.
That was a good trade.
But the main problem I have for this episode is, who the fuck is Professor Cog? He's connected to Vengeance because he has grinders, so is he an attack bot?
Probably.
He shows up in Super Megaforce and still doesn't answer anything.
Well, I'm assuming that was Vengeance or the Sentai equivalent in the Sentai.
That's not really an equivalent. That's full ass something made up.
Oh.
I think it's just hilarious that they made like the most goofiest Sentai in a post-apocalyptic season.
I'm super impressed how they did that tone, because Goandra was goofy as shit.
Alright, moving on to the 20th anniversary special. Which is a finale to Megaforce, a team up, and an anniversary special all in one, and succeeds at nothing.
How many times do we have to talk about this episode?
Every so often we have to talk about it.
It's fucking 10 years, we're still talking about it.
That's our purgatory, is that we're gonna talk about this fucking shit for millions of years to come until we die.
So yeah, legendary battle.
We're here to fight by your side. You've more than lived up to the legacy we've left for you. We're all very proud of you.
Thank you. It's an honor to meet you.
Ah, the honor's all ours. Why don't you take the lead?
Ready, guys? It's Morphin time! Go, go, Megaforce!
I love being a Power Ranger.
Team up between the Megaforce Rangers and literally everybody. Alright, so Legendary Battle is a lot of things to Megaforce, so I'm just going to talk about the team up parts. You're welcome. So the Armada is ready to gear up and fucked up Harwood County, so we see various Rangers, whether it makes sense that they're here or not, showing up to save civilians, and we get cool little helmet flashes from everybody, which was a cool effect. Carter and Dana save a civilian trapped under rubble. TJ and Cassie rescue Peeps from an elevator. Leo, in clothes he wore from the 90s, reunites a kid with his dog Bigsley.
Nice names.
Damon and Wes, who are hanging out for some reason, look at people trying to stay warm. Carone stares at a kid crying to her mommy and gets some serious deja vu because this looks a little familiar to something she was in. Tommy saves a kid from a falling car with Saba.
Someone please help me!
So the Super Megaforce Rangers defeat Emperor Mavro. Different ways depend on which cut you watch, and the Rangers still got X-Borgs to fight. So cut to every team of Power Rangers at this point posing on cliffs and joining the Super Megaforce Rangers on the ground, with the Rangers we've seen earlier in the episode taking off their helmets, with Mike and Emily taking off theirs too, even though they don't say or do anything. They literally do nothing, and starting off the 2-minute battle we've seen in Troy's dream for the past 2 years come to pass. The Legendary Rangers then disappear into golden energy, which is revealed to be the work of the Green Morphin Master and Dino Fury. So yeah, this team up is something. We've talked about the problems in this episode as in lengths, and this won't be the last. So let's just move on. To the 25th anniversary special, Dimensions in Danger.
Anybody know what time it is?
It's Morphin time! Ninja spin! Rangers ready!
A team up between the Ninja Steel Rangers and various others.
I'm sorry. Because of me, you're gonna be in such danger.
The Ninja Steel Rangers are contacted by the 3 hooded figures from the previous episode, who are revealed to be Wes Collins, Gemma, and Koda.
A random trio, but I'm here for it.
It's not really a random trio, because they each represent the dimensions in Power Rangers. Wes represents the main dimension, Gemma represents RPM dimension, and Koda represents the Dino Church dimension. So yeah, they ask for their help after they lose contact with Tommy Oliver, who of course the Ninja Steel Rangers all know, because of course.
What we need first is to get Tommy Oliver to help us.
Tommy Oliver. I've heard of him.
Yeah, we all have.
So they all road trip to Reefside, and we actually see the house they used in Dino Thunder, which is cool. Where we learn that Lord Draven,
I see y'all.
Some dude we don't know, but the legendary Rangers all do, has teamed up with Madame Odious for her robot clone technology, which he used to make an evil Tommy, and her magic to power up arrows, which will open a crack in the multiverse so Lord Draven can invade every dimension with his Ranger clone army.
What I don't understand is that the episode or two before this, they were foreshadowing the cloaked trio Rangers. They didn't foreshadow this villain. He just shows up in this episode. Who is he?
You know, what's really strange is that the premiere opened up with a former iconic villain coming to the main dimension. Couldn't use him as the anniversary villain. It's just a random dude we've never heard of or saw before.
Summer movie footage.
Speaking of the Ranger clone Ami, though, we learned that Lord Draven has captured Tommy, who escapes, Catherine, Rocky, TJ, Trent, Antonio, and Gia, with the trio and Tommy rescuing them when the Ninja Steel Rangers are burning some Sentai footage.
In an anniversary special, get this footage out of here. You have all these iconic characters back.
Tommy then fights his evil robo-clone with his Master Morpher, a morpher that lets him use all his Ranger powers except for Red Turbo, defeating him before he ninja reveals himself with the other veteran Rangers to team up with the Ninja Steel Rangers to fight Lord Draven's Ranger clone army.
Ninja reveal. We got an instamorph.
They're not all ninjas. Why they say ninja reveal? Lord Draven then grows to fire the last arrow, but is stopped by Tommy using the Falcon Zord to redirect the arrow back at him. We then get some generic dialogue about how everyone is great and blah blah blah, and everyone goes back to their dimension. Before Brody says,
"Now that was epic."
That's how you know he spent all of his time as a slave on a spaceship, because he don't know what words mean.
One of the funniest lines at the end is when Rocky is like,
"Please, she doesn't stand a chance. Not with the Super Ninja Steel Rangers on her tail."
He gives off so much dad energy.
He gave us that iconic meme face when he wakes up.
This is a pretty good anniversary team-up special, despite it kind of ripping off Shattered Grid.
Not kind of. Despite it ripping off Shattered Grid. Flat out, we know all the tea. It ripped off Shattered Grid.
Lord Draven, Lord Draken, he uses an army full of evil Ranger clones. He wants to attack the multiverse. He wants to shatter the grid.
To the show's benefit, they don't make Lord Draven some little drama queen that wants Zordon and Rita to be his mommy and daddy. So
that was so fucking weird.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever read in my
ended
life.
so fucking weird.
It has good fights and a good amount of Power Rangers coming back, even if some of them have the most generic dialogue that could have been used by anybody.
Does Gia even say anything? Can't even get focus in a team up.
She's like, finally, no more Draven. Speaking of Draven, he's kind of a merp villain. For an anniversary special, I wish it was a villain either connected to another villain, like the Machine Empire Generals or Thrax, or an old villain coming back like Robo Rita.
It could have been Madame Odysseus' brother or some shit. Gay brother.
Gay brother.
Girl, the hair. Are you serious?
I assumed Sledge was going to be involved with the anniversary episode, considering they brought the version of Sledge's crew that went through the Dark Energy wormhole in the Super Ninja Steel premiere, but they saved that for the Poisy show.
Morphin time!
Which is a team up between the Ninja Steel Rangers and the Blue Dino Charge Ranger.
As much as I like that episode, it's so strange to set that up in a premiere and then 20 episodes later, you just saved that for a Christmas episode?
The thing is that they originally planned to have a Dino Charge.
Do not remind me.
But then they did Dimensions instead.
Oh, first of all, I don't know what this whole thing of like, oh, we only get one or the other. This is your 25th season of your long-running show, and you did one special episode. You could have just done a second one. What's going on in Super Ninja Steel? There is nothing going on in season 2. Nothing. Nothing would have been sacrificed. Nothing.
It's the lowest of mid. It's so mid.
You could literally put a number for each episode on a wall and throw a dart. Whatever number that lands on, it would not fucking matter.
The story arc of Super Ninja Steel is Madame Odious is back. She hires galactic ninjas. They're destroyed. She hires some guy named Brax. He's destroyed. She hypnotizes Mick and wants a human clone army. She's destroyed. That's the entire story of Super Ninja Steel. Alright, so let's talk about the Poisy show, which is a bright spot in the season. After bringing back Sledge's crew into the main dimension during the Super Ninja Steel premiere, they finally come back after Madame Odious is destroyed and takes the Warriors Dome to distract Poisandra with her own show, the Poisy Show!
Welcome to the Christmas special of the Poisy Show! Starring the beautiful, the glamorous,
while Sledge captures all the Ninja Steel Rangers but Preston and takes their power stars, proving how competent Sledge is compared to Galvanax and Manamodius. So Preston isn't captured by Sledge, like I said. He is sent to the Dino Charge dimension with Sledge after he opens up a portal with the transportal device the Ninja Steel Rangers got from Wes, and their power stars too, since they were absorbed into the Nexus Prism in the finale and needed to space. So they get those back this episode. This is also a Christmas special, technically, so it's more of an epilogue. And it's set during Christmas, but it's very light Christmas. I mean, Santa shows up.
They get stuck in snow things. Or
the monstrous snow theme, Santa shows up, but it's very light on the Christmas stuff. It's more about a kind of team up, like a Always a Chance or a True Blue the Rescue kind of episode. Anyways, while Poisy is interviewing the Ninja Steel Rangers with clip show antics, Preston teams up with Koda to fight Sledge and rescue the Ninja Steel Rangers. So while the Ninja Steel Rangers burn some Sentai footage, Koda leaves a present for Sledge's crew, which is, of course, a bomb. Destroying them in the Warrior Dome, but this isn't the last time we see the crew. So the episode ends with the Ninja Steel Rangers going to the Dino Charge dimension to have a caveman Christmas. Yay! Despite this being a Christmas clip show, I really did enjoy this episode. I mean, anytime they get Sledge's crew back, some of them.
Where's Curio, the erasure?
We only see Sledge, Poisy, and Wrench this episode for some reason.
Where's my gay scarecrow baby?
We also got Preston and Koda interacting, which made up for them not even looking each other in dimensions.
You get these two together, you can't put them in the same fucking shot.
I liked that they got their powers back in a transportal device, so questions are answered for future team-ups. Granted, none of the Ninja Steel Rangers but Mick ever show up again, but it's good to have that failsafe just in case, because you know some fan is going to have those questions, and by that I mean me. It's sad when an episode has to be Dino Charge to be good in Ninja Steel, but whatever.
I'll take it.
Alright, so that was our last Neo Saban era team up. Let's move on to our first Hasbro era team up. Finders Keepers.
It's Morphin time! Activate beast power! Ha! Dino Charger! Ready! Unleash the power! Unleash the beast! It's about to get wild!
Which is a team up between the Beast Morphin Rangers and the Dino Charge Rangers. So, continuing the events from the last episode, Ryjack's villain relics are up for grabs, and multiple factions are racing to find them. Zoe is the first to find his ship, and of course messes things up because this is Zoe. So she activates a bomb, leading the Robo-Duo to find Snide's sword and reviving him with a reanimizer. So Snide's back, baby! So Campbell Cooley has two villains to voice this episode. Zoe then collars Keeper, making him obedient to anyone. So they put him in a truck while they scoop up the relics, which includes Zed's staff, Wink, and Sledge's blaster. But the truck is stolen by a Vivek, so it's a race to rescue Keeper. While this is all going down, the Dino Charge Rangers, 4 of them at least, arrive on the scene after the Robo-Duo capture him, and return to Grid Battle Force HQ to regroup and gets the lowdown. After Zoe gets shaded for her fuck-ups, Evox calls Grid Battle Force up and tells them they'll give them Keeper back in exchange for the relics, and Charles like, okay. So the two sides meet in an abandoned warehouse to make the trade, and of course Snide is like, nope, with returning Keeper. So the Beast Morphin Rangers and the Dino Charge Rangers morph to fight Snide. However, the Beast Morphin Rangers got to deal with some Sentai footage, so it's up to the Dino Charge Rangers, Riley and Shelby included, after they're called up to fight Snide. Skrull then decides to resurrect Sledge to help him.
It's a bomb! Oh, wait, I'm alive!
And the rest of his crew, too, and they all go in on the Dino Charge Rangers. Even Curio gets to kick Chase's ass. I'm so proud. That's until the Beast Morphin Rangers come in for the save, rescuing Keeper and forcing Sledge's crew to retreat for now. The Dino Charge Rangers then leave and have the Beast Morphin Rangers deal with their entire villain faction. They're like, yeah, we gotta go. Have fun with our entire villain faction. Bye! And Keeper leaves too, but stays in the main dimension for now, ending part 1 of the 3-part team up. I really enjoyed this first part part despite Zoe's stupidity. Anytime I get to see the Dino Charge crew is a treat, so both the Rangers, if only 4, and Sledge's crew is a good time. Next up, part 2 of this team up, Making Bad, which isn't really a team up per se, it's more of just the Beast Morpher villains and the Dino Charge villains doing goofy stuff, so I want to talk about it. Evox gives Scrozzle, the Roboduo, and Sledge's crew the task of figuring out which villains they should revive, to which Scrozzle whips out a USB stick of footage of past events, which I guess isn't good footage because it has terrible ADR. So the villains spend the entire episode proposing villains like Korag, Lord Zed, put a pin in that, Astronema, and Psycho Red. While this is going on, Poisandra and Curio hunt for some diamonds. Diamonds!
I can't read, but those look like diamonds!
So, after being caught, Fury and Wrench join in the fight, and the fearsome four unfortunately destroyed for the last time. Rest in peace, icons. Sledge is, of course, distraught after the death of his wife, but Evox doesn't have time for that and suggests Goldar to be revived, which Scrozzle does and infuses him with diamonds, making him Goldar Maximus.
That's so pretentious.
Sledge shades him and is destroyed by Goldar Maximus. R.I.P. Sledge. At least you're killed by Goldar. That's kind of cool. With the villains planning for the events of the next episode. This episode is fun. Love all the cute little scenes with Sledge's crew, especially Poisandra, Curio, and Sledge. And they work great with Evox's crew. They got good chemistry.
Probably my favorite of the 3.
Agreed. When Poisandra compares her wedding with Rita's, I'm like, oh my god, that was so amazing.
I don't want that guy on my team.
Hey! At least he had a nice wedding with Rita. I bet her husband can spend more time with his asteroids than with his wife.
Jeez, Poisy.
Roxy's pronunciation of some villains were kind of weird.
King Mondoom.
The redubbed clips are kind of bad. It's still a fun way to utilize clip show.
Yeah.
And it was a good way to build up to the finale of this arc, which is Gutted Connection.
It's Morphin time! Unleash the power! Tyrannosaurus! Rangers forever! Defenders together!
Which is the team up between the Beast Morphin Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Dino Rangers, and the Dino Charge Rangers. After 5 episodes of building up to this moment, it has finally begun, with Keeper coming to Grid Battle Force headquarters to inform the Beast Morphin Rangers that he got a vision about a big battle with multiple Ranger teams on the horizon. Devin's the only one to doubt his vision, however, so he goes to some video game tournament and he literally gets hit with a meteor. It's kind of funny. Which is revealed to have been sent by Master Green. In Dino Fury, while Devin is dealing with this, the Beast Morphin Rangers get a message from Tyler informing them that Goldar Maximus and Snyder are attacking their dimension and successfully steal 4 Energems, the 4, conveniently, that were the 4 that showed up on Morphin Finders Keepers. We then learn Evox's master plan, which was to create a Zord made from 4 Energems in conjunction with multiple dinosaur DNA. Evox learned this from Keeper while he was under the influence of the Combined Scholar in Finders Keepers. But the weird thing about that is that it also said he needed a warrior spirit, and Evox is like, I'll use my warrior spirit, but you're a virus. How do you have a warrior spirit? So Devin then arrives to the Dino Charge dimension with Jason Lee Scott after using the meteor in conjunction with Morphex to send out a message to the universe, and the meteor just so happened to contain a T-Rex power coin. Like I said, power coins literally falling out of the sky. So the Dino Charge Rangers, who have Dino Chargers filled with Morphex so they can morph after their Energems are stolen, and Jason Lee Scott confront Goldar Maximus, Snide, and the Roboduo and fight them alongside the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Dino Rangers, making this a Dino-filled team-up, y'all! Even though a lot of them are just 80-yard. I'm so sad they couldn't get a Dino Thunder representation. You couldn't get Kevin Duhaney? He would have done it. So yeah, Snide is destroyed by the Dino Rangers, Robo-Roxy is destroyed for the 5th time by Ivan, and Goldar Maximus is destroyed by a giant-ass power blaster.
Robo-Roxy and Robo-Blaze were not shit. They got destroyed every other episode.
That is until Roxy got her little DNA power-ups and Robo-Blaze just stole some more effect. The Beast Morphin Rangers then try to stop Evox from creating the Chimera Zord. They fail, so it's up to the Dino Megazord, Thundersaurus Megazord, and Dino Charge Megazord to beat the Chimera Zord, which isn't enough until Devin uses the Beast X King Zord in conjunction with the Dino Charge Megazord Zord to destroy the Chimera Zord. We then get our little free huddle and Rangers forever defending together. You know the drill.
Stop trying to make that a thing.
Before they all go back to their respective dimensions, and just like Dimensions, has the episode end with the Red Ranger saying something.
This adventure is better than any video game.
You tried, Devin. That was cute. Now that was epic. And that's the only time that Brody ever said that where I was like, yeah, okay.
This episode was a pretty good arc finale to what was built up. Everything leading up to this moment was handled well. Loved that they finally adapted this after years of wanting it.
I never thought we would ever see this, like, ever.
So that in general was just cool. All in all, a good episode. And our very last team up. So we will be moving on to our ranking segment, which we will rank our top 3 favorite and our bottom 3 episodes. So I will go first. My top 3 are Reinforcements from the Future. That's number 3. Number 2 is To the 10th Power and Power Pink. And number 1 is Thunderstorm. Austin, what are your top 3?
My third one, I'll probably go with Making Bad. Number 2, Forever Red, just because it's so iconic. I grew up with it. And number 1, it has to be To the 10th Power.
All right, Amber, what are your top 3?
With number 3, I think I'm going to be a little bit similar to everybody, and I'm just going to pick Making Bad. My number 2, it's Thunderstorm, because Dino Thunder. And then obviously my number 1 is Shell Shock.
All right, let's talk about the bottoms. I think my number 3 is Once a Ranger. Number 2 is History. And number 1 is Legendary Battle. Austin, what are your bottoms?
Number 3, Legendary Battle. Number 2, Once a Ranger. Number 1, we didn't really talk about it, but I'll say A Friend in Need. Even the worst team-ups I still think are fun. But A Friend in Need, it's unwatchable.
All right, Amber, what are your bottoms?
We're going to just line up some more. Number 3 is Legendary. I really hate History. Let's go with Once a Ranger.
Alrighty, so that was the end of our grid ranking. So what did you think of our ranking? Did you agree with us? Tweet us at the Grid PR to tell us your favorite team-ups. We'll see you next time for a brand new episode of The Grid. But until then, everybody say bye and happy 30th, Power Rangers!
Happy Power Rangers Day!
Bye and happy 30th, Rangers!
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
This has been a Morphin Legacy production, bitches.